What's going on, everybody? It's Josh, aka the Most of Muscle, and I'm coming at you with another Next Up podcast. This one's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be kind of a Q&A, kind of an interview, but I'm here with my man, Anson Robbins. Talk to him a little bit, introduce yourself, tell him who you are, where you're from, all that fun stuff.
Yo, what's up, guys? I appreciate you having me on the show here, Josh. I'm a big fan of the channel. Love the podcast you do with Colin. I'm actually from the same state as Colin, speaking of, uh, North Carolina. I don't live in Raleigh, but I'm about 45 minutes away. And that's the show that I'll be doing here in 8 weeks and 6 days, the Gold's Gym Classic in Raleigh, NC. I've just been moving along with that. This has been the best contest prep of my life by far. In Joe we trust. So
So we
right
trust.
now. Right now, nothing's going on too crazy today for me. Just a rest day, low day. So I'm eating my bikini girl food, my 200, which they probably don't eat 200, but 200 grams of meat and then 100 grams of rice is where I feel like a bikini girl. So,
Trust me, I was there not too long ago.
yep.
It's wild to think I'm like 30 pounds up from stage weight already, and like those days are, far behind me, but like they sure as hell don't feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luckily, you don't have a weight cap to make, so it's not like you sitting there and like I was, where it's like, oh, we're 4 days out. Good luck. Pre and post workout carbs. See you later.
Yep.
So that was fun. Honestly, I couldn't complain. It really wasn't that bad.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
Especially like I said this the other day on the podcast me and you did with Colton. I feel like I got cheated out of the back end of prep because it was like, yo, you're 2 weeks out. Like you start feeling that anticipation, and it just wasn't there. Like,
Mm.
no, I was never 2 weeks out. I was 6 weeks out, and then went to bed that night 6 days out.
Yeah.
It's like there
The
was
weird,
no 2 to 3 weeks out. Never had that
the,
stuff. So
yeah. The weird thing for me is I kind of feel like a similar thing because I'm 9 weeks out, but I kind of feel like 5 weeks out compared to where I was last time. Hell, I'm probably leaner than I was 5 weeks out last time. Maybe leaner than show day last time, but that's not saying much. So it's just such a different prep. It's like I don't know when I'm exactly supposed to feel what. So it's just like take everything as it comes.
so that's actually going to get me into my first question, which is perfect. Is you being after looking at your pictures from like last year, and I would even say your first show too. Um,
Mm,
this is easily the best shape you've ever been in with this much muscle.
for
So,
sure.
what have you been feeling that's different about this prep than any other prep? In terms of like, let's get into the shitty part, like
Mm,
not what feels good because we could stroke Joe all day long, but like,
yeah.
what sucks about this shit?
Okay, so I mean, hey, prime example today. My low days feel fucking low, which is good. We need that. I just had a high day yesterday where it was, I want to say like 5,700 calories or something, almost like 800 grams of carbs. So, you got to take the high with the low too. And all my other preps, it was really, there wasn't that fluctuation, which I think actually in a prep is good. You need fluctuation. You need to have high highs and low lows. You need to have days where you're really cranking and days where, you're filling back up. Other preps, it was just dig straight, but it was less of a decline. Like I don't think my calories got much below 3,200 like on a training day at all for that either of those preps. Maybe the first one it got a little lower. But they didn't get any higher than that either because I had like no high days, no refeeds, anything. So one of the really good things about this prep has been the implementation of those, strategic high days. But I think also a part of that is also my low days are getting low. So I'm sure by the end here, I might be doing some no carbs on rest days or at least for some meals or something like that. So I feel like I'm doing no carb on like a low day today. I don't want to say like I feel bad or anything, but I feel tired, just the normal shit in prep. Other than that, my training days, I still feel pretty good. I'm eating close to 4,000 calories. I'm only doing 25 minutes of cardio 5 times a week. Overall, it's really not hard yet at all things considered.
So you're someone who eats a lot of food in the off season.
Yep.
Um, when it comes to because I think everyone has this correlation between if you eat a lot of food in the off season, you're going to eat a lot of food in prep.
Mm,
And I've always kind of disagreed with that. There's a saying it takes what it takes.
yep.
Um, I've watched a lot of guys. I'm one of those guys who I can consistently for months on end eat 5, 6,000 calories. We'll say five because I've never had 6,000 calories that did consistent cheat days. So we'll say just 5,000. And in prep, every prep so far, I've gotten to a point where there was 3 to 4 meals, no carbs.
Mhm.
So explain to me, as somebody who's had to eat a lot of food, how you feel in terms of, do you think that your metabolic furnace is really catered towards both the off season and contest prep, or are you what we would? It's hard to consider somebody a hard gainer because
Yeah.
you could just eat more food and you could take more drugs. But would you consider yourself almost a hard gainer to where you need the extremes on both ends to truly get in shape and to truly grow?
I think, just going back to what you said, it takes what it takes. And I think that, this was the first off season for me where my calories did get up to 7,000 and I kept like respectable off season shape. That was a very new thing for me. And I think in a contest prep, I'm agreeing with what you're saying of like, just because you're pushing super high food in the off season doesn't necessarily mean you'll stay that way in a contest prep because it is going to take what it's going to take. My body has been pretty linear in the way that we've needed to decrease food. It's like every couple of weeks we're bumping things down a little bit, but we're, refeeding once or twice a week at least. So it's kind of hard to say like how much food I actually need right now because it's very up and down, right? But I think overall, you build off seasons, multiple off seasons back to back of eating that high food. I think that's where you start to see that need crossover into the contest prep a bit more. Since that was like my first off season where my body was, having the metabolism spike up like that, I think it's a bit less likely to stick. So I think once you build it up further, because I have seen like kind of a upward trend across off season. Let's say the off season before last, I was doing 5,000 calories or 55, I think it was. And then for this past one, it was 65 for most of it and then seven at the very end. If that continues and I get up to say 8,000 calories this next off season or eight and a half, something like that, then yeah, I think it will, at least on the first half of prep, kind of result in a bit of a higher caloric intake. But at a certain point, I think you just get to a point where to get body fat off, you're just going to have to dive calories low because there's only so much cardio you can do. There's only so many fat burners you can take. And I've done it the other way where, last prep I was doing a bunch of cardio and my food was a bit higher. Muscle retention and even muscle gain is much, much more likely to happen when you're moving less, but also eating less.
With that said, what are your steps at right now?
10K minimum, but I'm normally getting like 11 or 12.
Okay, so still not a ton of output. Um,
No.
and then what people don't know is me and you have pretty much same jobs, right?
Yeah.
Personal training, online coaching, and owning a gym. So a view from my perspective, and I'm sure that you're the same way as much as we don't want to admit it, this shit's easy.
Yes, very.
Bodybuilding is so fucking simple when you own a gym because you're here.
Yes.
Like you're not at your gym right now, but like I'm here. Oh, I gotta go get steps. All right, cool. There's a treadmill open.
Yeah. This is
Right.
the one
Oh,
day of the week I'm not at my
okay.
gym. It's Sunday.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, I gotta train. All right, I'm already here. I don't have to drive to the gym. This shit's just easier for us. So
Yeah.
getting into the next thing, when it comes to your food being as high as it was, what did it really consist of? Was it something where was there any point where you were trying to get the food down and you're like, yo, Joe, I'm struggling? Like what did your food kind of consist of? Let's say like rice grams, food sources, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think he capped me at like 300 cooked rice per meal. And then I had either four or five like caramel rice cakes with each meat and rice meal. Protein amounts stayed at 200 grams cooked. My cream of rice meals got pretty high. I want to say one of them was like 220 or 250, something like that at the end. Um, I had, like 150 grams of berries, or actually like 200 because it was strawberries and blueberries. I think it was like 150, 200 grams of berries. I had pineapple and banana and honey in my post workout meal. Intra carbs were like 30, I think. So And then I had that creamy before bed. That stayed the same basically. So that was just a protein and fat meal. Um, I somehow all of that added up to 7,000. I don't remember. I haven't seen that actual diet in a while, but it was basically a lot of meat, a lot of rice, and a lot of rice cakes specifically, which I think this coming off season would be like, hey, I think I never want to look at a rice cake again. Let's do like dried fruit or something.
Yeah. 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 For me, at one point we were doing, because you, like myself, have like that insatiable appetite where it
Yeah.
doesn't affect your digestion at all. I did, trying to remember exactly what the high days were. The high days were 150 grams of cream of rice pre,
Hmm.
post was 180. Both were 50 grams of cream of rice or whey.
Hmm.
One was 26 grams of honey in each, actually. And then one had blueberries, one had bananas.
Yeah. And I was adding honey on top of those rice cakes too, if I think
I was
that's what I
going to
was
say, I
doing.
think that you must add honey in there. Did you have
Yeah.
any added fats other than the almond butter at the end of the night?
Not that I can think of. And I had two chicken meals, one ground turkey meal, one beef meal that was 93.7. So there's a bit of fat in there. Yeah, the cream of rice meals got really high, but again, like appetite wise, I was eating every hour, hour and a half, no problem.
Can you explain to people how much harder it is, but also how much faster it digests when you're eating that amount of food with next to no fats in there? Because I've tried to explain this to people when they're like, yo, how do you eat that much food? And I'm like, it sits in you heavy for a good 20 minutes. If you go and you walk pretty soon after, you never really feel that except for like the back end of that walk.
Yep.
Then it goes away. So for you, your food was higher than mine. If you could explain that to people, kind of what that feeling is like.
So when you have added fats in a meal, I think of that as like very old school, right? And when you think about like weaponry, what's a really old school weapon? It's you ever seen like a castle get sieged and they have those giant slingshots that are just kind of slinging a big old boulder over the castle gate? That's the added fats. When you're just doing protein and carbs, there's nothing slowing anything down. And if your digestion is working properly, it's instead like a bullet being fired through a gun. It just runs right through you. And you can see that wearing a CGM, right? I would eat, I would see a spike, I would walk. By the time I was done with my 10-minute walk, I'd be down to probably back to 90, like within 10, 15 minutes. And it would just from there start to gradually go down. I'd be at 70 within an hour of eating like a meat and rice meal.
Yeah, it's wild. So now let's get into some of the fun stuff. During this prep, during your off season, what did your, as long as you're comfortable sharing these
Yeah,
numbers,
yeah, yeah.
what did your gear get up to? What did your ancillary, it's, we're gonna act like I said that word correctly. Uh, what did they get up to? Kind of what made certain parts your favorite and what made certain parts just like, yeah, that kind of didn't do much.
Mm.
Like in my personal opinion, Motzi has done next to nothing.
Mm.
I don't see the results from it, but also maybe it's because I've been on 2 milligrams of Retta, so my blood
Yeah.
sugar hasn't really made a huge difference. Where I have seen a difference with Motzi was when I ran Motzi, SS31, and Clen at the same time. That changed something. That felt like I was on fucking adrenaline.
Yeah, I've never tried SS31, but hearing you talk about it makes me want to try it. I had very similar experience with Mott C, but the thing is, it was like one of the last things we added into the off season. So it's like, man, I'd already been pushing food for a long time. We had already had insulin in for a while. Food was at its peak. So I didn't really expect to see a dramatic blood sugar difference there. In prep, I noticed a little bit of an energy increase from it, but it's like, hey, you're taking a bunch of other shit too, so who knows what's really doing what. But there's nothing really that I didn't care for per se within the off season. It all worked for me pretty well. We started the last off season cycle at a gram of test, 600 EQ, and then I want to say like 4 weeks in or 5 weeks in, we added in MPP at 350. So that is actually one thing that I would change going back in the future. Like EQ is just such a slow burn. And I think we really realize that now after having played around with it more. I would start that cycle with test MPP EQ or honestly just even test MPP. EQ is a great compound, but I want to have something that just hits really quick like that MPP. So.
I'm sorry. I love EQ. I don't care. I
I
don't
love it. Yeah.
slow burn shit. I have this theory of I have not brought this up, obviously. But you start it when you're in the last 4 weeks of your blast. If you haven't been running it in your blast the whole time, run in the last 4 weeks. That way you can run it at a small dosage during the cruise.
Yep.
Because then by the end of your cruise, it's already saturated, it's already in. Now you can just continue to run it. That's how I
Yeah.
do it. And yeah, we have it. We have the uh conversion to esterone, um,
Hmm.
which generally I don't see as a big deal. If you're running any sort of DIM or calcium D-glutarate,
Yep.
you can clear that pretty easy. TUDCA, like just making sure that your liver can clear it, you're pretty much
Absolutely.
fine. So that's why I still am a huge fan of EQ.
Oh yeah.
I have a guy who's starting prep. He's actually whose program I was writing before we started. Uh, and I was gonna put EQ in, and I thought about it, and we kind of have to shotgun this prep. He's very not in shape, even though we got 20 weeks. So I'm like, hey, listen, I wanted to run EQ, but it's not really gonna do what we needed to by the time that I gotta put Trent in.
Yeah.
So let's just keep it out. Which unfortunately means that like he's gonna have to spend a bit more money and try and source a master on.
Mm.
Hey, it's you kind of shot yourself in the foot by being a little too fat in the off season, but like hey, it happens. Now, what are your personal side effects that you get? And by side effects, I mean in both the good and the bad from MPP.
I honestly, MPP really just makes me like a better version of myself. I don't get the anxiety or depression. It actually kind of almost gives me the opposite. It kind of, I don't want to say like mania or whatever, but it puts me in like an upbeat mood. I get zero sexual dysfunction with it.
Almost like a euphoria.
Yes, that's a perfect way to describe it. Yeah. I mean, water retention, that's about it.
So I think it's funny because everyone gets a different effect from the 19 Noires, right? For me, trend gives me that.
Trend does do that to me as well. I don't get angry on trend.
Yeah, I have a sense of euphoria. I feel fantastic on trend. I love trend. MPP, me and MPP don't love each other. The higher I run my MPP, the bigger the problem becomes.
Mm,
Which is why I've always done the mix of the MPP DECA, because the
yeah.
DECA doesn't do the same. The problem is that I'm a little bit stupid sometimes, and sometimes I'll run my DECA a little high because I don't like reading labels. That's why I have Gyno. Because at one point I was running 900 DECA with like 300 tests because I just
Damn.
couldn't read the fucking label correctly.
And to be fair, I've never taken my MPP above 350, so like there's that. Maybe if I were to take it higher, I'd start to go towards the other direction. But at a low dose, it's really strong too, honestly. Like in the gym, like performance, man, it feels damn near as strong, if not stronger than trend for me personally, the response I get from it.
Yeah, I do think that MPP has a huge place in bodybuilding and in a growth phase. I mean, I know you did too, but I ran it
Yeah.
for the first fucking my prep timeline is so fucked.
Yeah. I
So
actually didn't have it in prep myself. I just had test and EQ in for the first 10 weeks.
okay. So I think for the first like 8 or 9 weeks, I had MPP in it.
Hmm.
Which is funny when you think back on the fact that the prep was only 15 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like I really even like shit, even Trent, I only ran Trent for 2 weeks.
Just goes to show you how quick that shit works.
And like I told him from day one, I was like, as soon as you put that shit in, you're gonna see a change. I promise you, day one, you will see a change. Next day, I was harder.
I'm
I
looking
didn't take
forward
it for
to it,
like
man.
3 days.
I think I'm probably getting close to, I'd assume probably like 8 or 6, something like that. So I'm getting close.
Yeah, you're definitely getting close, which is a beautiful thing. Um, Let me ask you this. When it comes to the newer stuff, I got two ways of doing this. Do you
Hmm.
care about talking about who your last coach was?
I don't care at all. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so you were with Blue. Blue is known for, blutation,
Yeah.
transform guys over the offseason. I'm gonna say that you had a much better blutation with Joe.
Yeah.
So what do you think was the catalyst that allowed you to change with Joe that did not let you change with Blue?
I mean, honestly, it just comes down to the coaching and actually like the attentiveness. I my last off season was like 2.5 years long. I didn't want it to be that long, but it was basically forced to be that long. Every time I said, "Hey, I want to start getting ready for prep, I want to compete," he was like, "Nope, stay in the off season." And on top of that, I'm convinced the man didn't look at my pictures for like a year straight in that off season because from the year and a half point to 2.5 year, I stayed the same body weight and I got fatter and my food never went down. I never did a mini cut, anything like that. So I think honestly, a lot of that just comes down to like attentiveness, to be honest. But other than that, cheat meals, big thing. For me, I would overdo the cheat meals. I was given no rails on the cheat meals. One of them was supposed to be a dirty cheat meal every week. So for me, that was a burger and fries or something like that. And the body fat just creeped up and creeped up. And I think one of the reasons that last year and a half or so of that off season was so bad for me was because I think my insulin sensitivity just went to shit and never did a mini cut or any type of body comp cleanup or anything. I decomped. If anything, I got fatter and stayed the same body weight. So I just think that approach doesn't work for me personally. It's obviously worked for other people, but for me, my body can change pretty quick. So I just need somebody to actually pay attention.
Would you say that the training had a big thing to do with it as well?
1,000,000%. Yes. And obviously all that diet stuff plays a big role, but yeah, that's the biggest key is the training. Having Joe completely reconstruct my training completely remade me as a bodybuilder. And that's one of the reasons that I'm so incredibly excited for. I know that Joe like to not have people talk about the rebound while you're still in prep because it's getting ahead of yourself and stuff, but I'm unbelievably excited for it because I didn't have him for the rebound last year. And I was 12 weeks post show and I got with Joe and we had to fix my training and do all this other stuff. We just get to go into it right off the rip now, full send, just no really complete reworks needed and just grow off of that. So I know that it's going to be my best year ever this offseason.
Well, genuinely, that's bodybuilding, right? And
Yeah.
I'm excited to get back into making progress. I was in the same boat for a long time during that prep. I didn't really care about the prep because in my head I was like, hey, like I could say it now, right? Because like
Yeah.
I'm no longer in the prep. I kept saying, be damn hard to beat, blah blah blah, bro. I sat there the entire time. I was like, I'm winning this fucking card, right? I was like, let's just get this fucking prep over with, so I could just go win my fucking card and get back into an off season.
Yeah.
I need the fucking weight cap. Like, I want to be able to gain another 10 pounds. Now, we said fuck the weight cap and just said fuck it, full send open. But like in my head, it was always kind of like, hey, we're past that shit. Um, and I hate to sound like that because I sound like a fucking dickhead, like a cocky asshole. But like
No, I know what you mean though, man. I know what
it
you
was
mean.
just I had a feeling in my head I was fifth last year. I knew I put on a substantial amount of tissue, and where I put on the majority of my tissue was in the thing that they told me that I lacked.
Mm.
Now, if you look at my fucking legs from the prep to the rebound, if somebody tried to say that my legs were a lacking body part, I'm going to have to turn around and have a conversation with their eye doctor
Damn straight.
because I think that my legs are already double the size from prep. Um, but genuinely, like you get into a point where you're at the end of your, you know, not even at the end. I think it's the midpoint of prep. It's before you start sitting there and you're looking really, really good, and you're like, yeah, I just want to get back in the off season, start growing again. I'm tired of this shit. And like for me personally, like I have a very, very emotional attachment to training.
Damn.
It's my church. There's a reason I work Sundays. I've always worked Sundays. I've always
Mm.
trained legs on Sundays. Because there is an emotional attachment that this is my, genuflect in front of the squat rack type of thing. Like this is my church.
Yeah.
So I will always love the training aspect in it. There's a fun part in prep where you start losing numbers, and then you got to go in. It's a fucking war zone, right? Like you got to fight for every single rep that you get.
Yeah.
But there's also the point in prep where you sit there and you're like, all right, numbers are holding. They're not super hard to hold, but I can't get another one.
Mm.
I try to get another one. I might push the fatigue a little too far. Like I know that it'll blow my CNS clean out. And that's where prep just becomes boring.
Hmm.
Prep in general should be boring. It's Groundhog Day.
Pretty much.
Wake up, you do the same thing every single day. It kind of should be boring, but there's a point where it becomes boring in training, and that's when I always hate it. And it's funny because it's when it was me, Austin, and Joe. I was the one who was like, oh, the one who liked competing the most. It's like, I fucking hate competing. I wouldn't do that shit if it wasn't a part of it. I like the training better, but being the classic guy of the three, I was the fucking pretty boy. Um, so it fucking happens. Let me ask you this next. What is the thing outside of bodybuilding that you are most excited for in 2026?
Hmm.
Because I feel like for you, you've had a lot of things change recently.
Yes. Yeah, man. A lot of things have changed and a lot of things have stayed the same. Um, Something that I don't know if this will be 2026 or 2027, but me and my wife are looking to start a family at some point. If, just fertility obviously is like a concern and everything. So that's something. Other than that, just continuing to grow my business. Like I've really kind of started to come into my own with like coaching people over the past really 6 months, but year. That's been super exciting. I got a couple of really, really good guys that I'm working with now. Which I guess that's still kind of related to bodybuilding. So the main
No,
thing
no, that's
outside of,
when I
okay,
said outside of bodybuilding, I meant more so
my
outside of
direct.
professional bodybuilding.
Yeah. Growing coaching has been really satisfying and fulfilling. Um, I'm someone who's obviously very driven within my own process, but it's really cool to be able to detach from it and then kind of put your brain on someone else's process. It's like I got a guy who's in prep. He's 6 weeks out and I'm 9 weeks out. And I'm kind of looking at his situation so objectively. And then I look back at my own and I'm like, I can't have that same objective view with myself, yet I know I can have it with this person. It's just very interesting. Like programming high days for him and like I see this, so I'm going to do this. It's just been a very enlightening experience to coach someone who is also in a prep while you're yourself in a prep.
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky. The guys I put on stage have either been we started their prep at the absolute tail end of mine, or their prep ended as mine started.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I'm ramping up to get mine going. Cool. Or I'm ramping up for my show, and like they're just finishing their health phase.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. I run real true health bases with a lot of my guys.
A
Um,
lot of people need them. Yeah.
like 150 milligrams of test, 200 milligrams of test. It wasn't until this past year where I started looking at the blood work a little more in depth and saying like, I don't need to run you that low.
Hmm.
Like this shit is gonna clean up really fast.
Yeah.
Or your health base can be 400 milligrams of test and 150 master on and be okay. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to push you down to less than a 300 milligram total. And that's been something that's crucial for the people who I've worked with and how they look. Like in general, they're just better. They're better guys now.
Yeah, I mean, more does more as long as you can recover and keep health intact or improve it even in that time. I see zero reason not to, other than this arbitrary number that we've been given by doctors who know nothing about us and nothing about our cohort of bodybuilders that are, taking every health supplement under the sun, eating a damn near perfect diet 99% of the time. What we do just does not apply to the common man in so many aspects.
100%. So let's get into it now because you're in the middle of prep. Let's give some people some do's and don'ts of just prep in general.
Hmm.
Um, from the beginning all the way up and through to where you're at now, and then I'll take over for the end part because I think that your
Yeah.
parts of prep are so different from what they were to now. So
So a big don't is I get some people, it can be like something to kind of get them through the day. I don't know if this was you or not, but to me, a big don't is watching like food content purposefully. Like, I don't want to be watching the cooking channel. I don't want to be looking at all these crazy desserts and stuff while I'm prepping. For me, it's not going to make me cheat on my diet. It's just going to make me hungry and make me think about food for no good reason. So that's a big don't for me.
so I hope to God Joe watches this because he's like, oh, not a food guy, Dorian Yates, blah, 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 right? I am not a food guy. I don't really care. And it's not a matter of like, I think I'm tough shit or anything like that. It's a matter of like, I will look at, these heavyweight chocolate bars and I'll be like, oh, that looks sick.
Mm.
I'll send them to my boys. And then I'll say, yeah, I'm not going to eat that though. Perfect
Yeah.
example, right? We prep ended 4.5 weeks ago. There's 4 heavyweight bars in my freezer at the gym. Not touching them. I have no
Yeah.
desire to touch them. I looked at one of them and I was like, right, I bought them mainly for Malik. Um, and I was like, I genuinely don't really have a desire to eat these fucking things.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's one thing if you're like just, looking every once in a while or you have some stuff. But I'm talking about the guys who literally spend all day scrolling Instagram and all their feed is just food. And like, what's that one show? The guy who goes around the country and eats at the different restaurants, not Guy Fieri. It's like the man versus food that they'll be watching shit like that on prep. That's kind of crazy to me.
I'll tell you, my favorite thing to watch on prep is the guy Jack Dietz.
I've not seen that.
So Jack Dietz will do like 25,000 calorie days, right?
Oh,
He's
wow.
so gluttonous that it makes you actually not want to.
I was just about to say, like, that would actually probably do the opposite.
Yeah. Like 2 boxes of cereal in a meal, and I just sit there and I'm like, yo, that really
God.
mouth hurts looking at that.
Yeah. Yeah. That might actually be good, like reverse psychology to watch stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, that was one of my favorites. All right, so what else do you got? I got one for the back end of prep, especially
Okay.
going into a national show.
Hmm.
Watching, I don't even want to give him credit. Uh, we both know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
BB, uh,
Yeah.
and like looking to see like who else is doing your show in your class. I get guilty of that every year. That's because in
Same.
my head I'm a fucking killer. But
Yeah. That's,
I think that's one of the worst things you could do.
yeah. That's, I was going to say the same thing for the front end of prep. Don't try to find, like, because, you can follow your state's NPC for any of these shows. They'll repost guys. Don't worry about who you're competing against. It really, bodybuilding, there is no defense. There's only offense. It's you versus you at the end of the day until the day of the show. And you can't control any of those variables. So just be your best self, put your best foot forward, take every single step on that stair stepper with intent, eat every food that's on your plan, every gram of food that's on your plan, and don't add a single gram over. Control your controllables, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Um, yeah, I mean, also just simply because I know that I have a tendency to do shit like this. Don't overdo it. If you
Yeah.
got 30 minutes of cardio on the plan, do your 30 minutes of cardio. If you're one of those people who every time that you do cardio does not start until your heart rate gets to X number, stick with that. I do think that that's a good rule of thumb to just maintain. But
Mm.
once you're there, don't say, "Oh, I'm supposed to do 30. Let me do 34."
Yeah.
Because that's not going to benefit you. And realistically, it gives a stunted view to your coach. Because let's say your coach wants to give you 35 minutes.
Yep.
Now, how long are you doing? Are you doing 39 or are you going to do 40?
Yeah.
Because let's be real, the overachiever in all of us is going to see 39 minutes on there. Blink, now it's at 39:02. Ah, fuck it, I'm going to just do one more minute.
Yeah. And communicate with your coach. If you want to be the person who, okay, I start when my heart rate gets to this certain point, have a discussion with your coach. Like, is that something that's okay? Or hey, maybe, which I don't like this approach personally, but maybe you're someone who wants to do a little bit of hit before you start your list, right? Because that heart rate thing is so important to you. I'm not saying those are good decisions or anything, but it's something you should have a conversation with your coach if it's just something that you're gonna end up doing off plan anyways. Like with myself, I'm trying really hard to stay right around that 10K step mark because if I'm not careful, I can get 15,000 steps in a day at the gym, getting groceries, post meal walks, things like that. But to me, staying on plan doesn't just mean meeting your minimum steps. It means not going too far over your minimum steps as well.
I mean, shit, I'm guilty of that one too.
Yeah.
I have this idea, and I'll always say this. I have this idea, like right now, I have 10,000 steps in my plan. I'm currently at 10,362. Well, I
Yep.
still want to get my 5 minute digestion walks in post meals. And I'm going to now sit there and say, all right, well, When I get home, I got this, and this to do. I'm gonna probably play with my dog for a second or two. I gotta clean up the gym before I leave. I'm getting 12,000 steps today. I know that.
Easy. Yeah.
Without a doubt, I know that. But I have this thing where I don't want to leave the gym or leave where I am without being at my steps because you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's fine because that's within a variance, right? Like it's not like you're 5,000 over, 10,000 over. It's you're a couple thousand over. That's within the variance of life, I would say.
and genuinely, that's your sauces. That's the little shit that your seasoning that says less than 1 calorie, but like real, or less than 5 calories, but like really it's 4 calories per 1 gram, and you dump
Phew.
4 grams on the fucking thing on accident. Like
Yeah.
that's where that 1,000 or 2,000 steps comes in. And I'm not saying, and if you are one of my clients, Matt, I'm specifically talking to you. Do not turn around and think that that's a fucking reason to go and get 20,000 steps because you binged on a fucking diet.
Mm.
That's not cool. It's not okay. Don't do that shit. It's, hey, I know that in my own neuroticism, I got to get my 10,000 steps. I have to finish my 10,000 steps before I leave here. Okay, cool. It's 6 o'clock when I get home. Hey, I'm not going for a fucking 3,000 step walk at that point. Maybe
Yep.
I'll go for 1,000 step walk. If I was down 1,000 steps, that's no problem. But I'm not going for no 3,000. I did legs today. My legs are fucking shot. I wanted to be done. So
Yeah.
now the rest of my day, yeah, I'm gonna do my 5 minute digestion walk, but realistically, my 5 minute digestion walk is gonna be me cleaning the shit up around.
Bro,
That's
what's worse, the day of leg or the day after legs? Because I'm a day post legs, and my post meal walks have been like hell today. I'm walking like I got peg legs.
honestly, God, I think because of my morning routine, it's the day of. My
Yeah.
morning routine consists of wake up in the morning, uh, pin whatever I got to do, blah blah blah. Uh, Energy drink, get downstairs, do the elliptical, walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes or so, get in the sauna. The sauna, I think, is the key, and my
Mm.
legs normally aren't sore by the time I'm done with the elliptical. Like I don't feel it until later in the day. But generally, when I go into the sauna and then I get here, I got like easy like 300 to 500 steps I do here, just getting my food prepared for the day. Whether I'm back and forth to the fucking bathroom or I'm doing this, that, and the third. And then by that point, I'm already at like 3,000 steps.
Mm.
Training's 1,500. This gym's not very big, but like I do kind of meander around.
Yeah, same.
And then you got your post meal walks. A little hint that I do, I walk on the treadmill backwards for one or two
Mm.
of my post meal walks. Uh, you will get the same step total at like half the speed.
Hmm.
Also, it's good for your knees, so you got to just crank that incline up.
Yeah, my knees have been bulletproof, knock on wood so far. But if I ever start running into any issues or something like that, that's definitely something I've seen a lot of people benefit from.
That is the training, bro. That is genuinely him fixing your training because, like,
Yes.
for me, my training was never bad. I've
Mm.
always been kind of a form Nazi. But for me, it was more so about having a governor. I needed to be pulled back. I need to be reeled in. I can't walk into the gym with a death wish. Even now, if you watch my hack squat sets, they are fucking aggressive. They're aggressively
Yeah.
slow. And I do it on purpose now because that is my governor. Because I know I can send 5 1/4 right now, but I would rather send 4, a 5, and a 2.5, and my knees not feel like shit. But
Mm.
before we get kicked off, I want to say thank you for coming on. Uh, Follow him on Instagram. I just posted a story not too long ago, but Anson Robbins _ bodybuilding. Follow his YouTube channel. Code Moses at HD Muscle, at Chunk Long Island, at Natural Body, at new one, Monkey Fist Grips. I think that's it.